The Zephyrian High Command's battle bridge erupted in synthesized laughter as Admiral Kexathera observed the human fleet through the holographic display. Dozens of antiquated vessels drifted in formation, their hulls scarred by countless battles, energy signatures barely registering on the most sensitive scanners. "Look at these primitive relics," Kexathera clicked, her mandibles vibrating with amusement. Their largest vessel appears to be held together with metal patches in desperation. Commander Jackson Hayes stood motionless on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, his weathered hands gripping the tactical console. Around him, his crew worked in tense silence, monitoring the massive alien armada that had just dropped out of hyperspace. 3,000 Zephyrian vessels, each one gleaming with advanced technology that made human ships look like museum pieces. "Sir," Communications Officer Emma Chen reported, her voice steady despite the odds. "We're receiving a transmission from the Zephyrian flagship." "Put it through," Jackson commanded. The main screen flickered to life, revealing Admiral Kexathera's insectoid features. Her compound eyes glittered with predatory satisfaction. "Human Commander, I am Admiral Kexathera of the Zephyrian Imperial Navy. You will surrender your pathetic fleet immediately, or we will demonstrate why organic species throughout the galaxy kneel before our technological supremacy." Jackson stepped forward, his expression calm. "I'm Commander Hayes of the United Earth Fleet. We're here to protect the civilian evacuation of New Geneva Colony. Stand down and we'll let you leave with your dignity intact." The alien's laughter was like grinding metal.
"Dignity?"
"Your entire fleet combined couldn't scratch the paint on our smallest frigate. These ancient vessels belong in a scrapyard, not a battlefield." Behind her, other Zephyrian officers joined the mockery, their clicking voices filling the channel. One particularly vocal subordinate gestured dismissively at his tactical display. "Their energy signatures are so weak our sensors classify them as space debris." Emma glanced at Jackson, who remained perfectly still. She'd served under him for 5 years, and she recognized that deadly calm. The commander was thinking, calculating, waiting. "Your ships look like they've been held together with primitive welding techniques," Kexathera continued. "What are those ugly protrusions along their hulls? Surely not weapons." "Those," Jackson said quietly, "are called gun ports." The Zephyrian fleet began advancing in a perfect formation, their sleek vessels humming with energy weapons and quantum shields. Their hulls reflected the light of the nearby star, creating an impressive display of technological superiority. Jackson activated his fleet-wide communication. "All vessels, this is Hayes. Execute Protocol Omega. Emma, send the authentication code to all ship captains." Emma's fingers danced across her console. "Authentication sent, sir." All vessels confirming receipt. Across the human fleet, ancient-looking ships began to change. What the Zephyrians had dismissed as crude hull patches suddenly split open, revealing massive weapon systems that had been deliberately concealed. The space debris energy signatures were the result of sophisticated dampening fields designed to hide the true power of human vessels. The UES Indomitable shuddered as her main reactor came online, not a fusion reactor as the aliens assumed, but something far more dangerous, a controlled antimatter core that had been running on minimal power. The ship's hull seemed to come alive as weapon systems emerged from hidden compartments. "What is this?" Kexathera's voice had lost its mocking tone. "This," Jackson said, his voice carrying across all channels, "is why humans don't build pretty ships. We build ships that win wars." The human fleet transformed before the aliens' eyes. Gunports opened to reveal railguns that could punch through a moon. Missile tubes that had been disguised as structural damage swiveled toward targets. Most terrifying of all, the ship's true power signatures began registering on Zephyrian sensors, energy readings that shouldn't have been possible for such seemingly primitive vessels. Emma watched her tactical display update as targeting solutions locked onto the alien fleet. "Sir, all vessels report ready for engagement. We have firing solutions on all primary targets." Jackson studied the alien formation. The Zephyrians had spread out, assuming they were facing inferior technology. Their shields were optimized for energy weapons, not the kinetic slugs that would tear through them like paper. "Admiral Kexathera," Jackson said, his voice now carrying an edge that made even his own crew straighten. "You're correct about one thing. These ships are old. The Indomitable has been fighting wars since before your species achieved spaceflight. She's ugly, scarred, and patched together from a dozen battles." The human fleet began moving, Not in the perfect formations the aliens preferred, but in the chaotic, aggressive patterns that had earned humanity its reputation across the galaxy. But there's something you should know about old warships, Jackson continued, as the first salvo of railgun rounds crossed the distance between fleets. They're still floating because they're harder to kill than everything that tried to kill them. The Zephyrian shield sparked and failed as magnetically accelerated tungsten slugs tore through their formations. Ships that had seemed invincible moments before began listing and burning as human missiles found their targets. Kexthera's voice crackled with static and panic. Impossible. These readings, how do they possess such firepower? Emma smiled grimly as she coordinated the fleet's assault. Because we learned a long time ago that in space, the ugliest ship is usually the one that comes home. The battle lasted 18 minutes. When the human fleet finally powered down their weapons, the space around New Geneva was filled with debris that had once been the pride of the Zephyrian Imperial Navy. Jackson opened a channel to the few surviving alien vessels. This is Commander Hayes. You're free to leave and tell your superiors what you learned here today. Next time you see a human fleet, remember, we don't build ships to impress anyone. We build them to win. As the battered Zephyrian survivors limped away, Emma began coordinating the civilian evacuation. The Relic fleet had done its job once again, proving that in the darkness of space, experience and determination mattered more than shiny hulls and perfect formations. The human warships had roared to life one more time, and the galaxy would remember.